So, a very good evening to all watching. Today, I have a very interesting and a special guest, Mr. Kishor Krishnamoorthi. He is an artist, he's an entrepreneur, and more importantly, he's a great photographer and a very good friend of mine. Welcome, Kishor. Thank you for coming down today. What is that drives you as a photographer?
So I think as a photographer, overall, always the passion has been that we have a power to capture moments in time that will be preserved and valued forever. Overall, be it a wedding, be it a documentary, be it anything. I think that is the crux of it. That I have a camera, I can capture something, and that's captured in history forever. If I hadn't taken that photo, that would have been lost, forgotten. We have that unique power, and we've been blessed with that capability. It's up to us to make good of it, not use it for the bad things, of course.
So happy you said that. My follow-up question to that was, you know how everyone says live in the moment,
right?
Live in the present. So it's like, what are we doing with photographs?
Right.
But then you just added that last statement saying for happy memories only.
And I think that, we always say live in the moment, but then sometimes when you see old photographs, you have so much of memory flooding through, right? I mean, I'm sure that you have the very large family photo at home, the large print. And
credit to you only. I know you shot it. And it has my grandfather in it.
So I'm sure that every time you walk past it, maybe sometimes you don't notice it, but when you do notice it, you have a lot of memories flooding back.
Absolutely.
And there's nothing else in the world that has that power, I think, right? I mean, you can't really put a piece of text or put anything or a doll.
All the emotion, the commotion when that picture was being shot.
Right. And so it's a manifest of your own memory in a visual sense that comes through. And as I said, when people pass on and they move on, their images are all what we have of them. And then that's just the way it is.
And that's the beauty of a photographer, to see what emotion is there and try to capture as real as it can get, I suppose.
I mean, exactly, as real as it can get. You said it right. There's nothing more real than that, right? So, so I think that is what drives me on a daily basis as a photographer. And of course, now the different genres, I think they're still all the manifestation of the same skill set I have. It's just the way I express myself in a wedding was a documentary project, was some heritage project. It's just a different way to express my creativity. For example, you have really nice photographs of yourself. It'll just be in an album at home or frames at home, right? And so therefore you're
more the relatives when they come home, maybe at the most.
And you kind of want to obviously one up the next guy, which is always how it is, right? If your neighbor takes such good photos, you want a little bit better than him. So then you figure out how can I do that and then that's how it comes up. And apart from that, I think also there's also technological advancement wherein before that cameras were also not so good performing in low light, things like that. So because Indian weddings are always very different from your Western weddings where they are in a little more low light. They're a lot more fast paced, so you also need much higher autofocus speeds. It's a culmination of this technology coming through the same time, and then you have the way of your public persona from social media.
So I have to ask you this question. Since you just touched upon technology and the brightness factor and all that, I know Apple, markets itself in such a ridiculously crazy way of saying that, take low light shots, take pictures anywhere and everywhere.
Right.
Is that really true? I mean, from a true photographer's perspective, do you think an Apple phone or any phone for that matter, I don't want to brand, can it actually replace these, powerful cameras of like DSLR or?
I think maybe not immediately, but I think at one point it'll come very close to those. Because already, so again, a lot of these things you see work in only the right conditions. Like, I mean, if you ever use a portrait mode on iPhone, it works amazing, but in a very small amount of conditions. If the light is not right or the distance to subject is not right, it kind of falls apart. Technology work given a certain set of successful conditions. Whereas with a really good DSLR like what we use, they're kind of designed to work when things go wrong.
When you want it to work.
Basically. Correct, So I think that is where what makes a difference between a professional and a normal passionate person. Wherein people can make an amazing photo when everything goes right. But when everything goes wrong, we still need to make an amazing image. I think that's what makes a difference, and that's what the tool you have needs to work in the worst of conditions.
They have all those additions, right? Like on mobile phones also, like how cameras have those large lenses. I've seen a couple of phones where they have these additional fit.
You can fit on.
It's like do they fit the bill? I mean,
So those are very particular. So you have like a macro attachment.
Yeah.
So which makes your lens focus very close. So you can take like close-up shots of insect, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then you have like a wide-angle lenses.
Are they legit, or are they like just trying to run a business out of it? I mean,
they do achieve the effect you want.
Yeah.
But they will reduce the optical quality.
Okay.
I think some companies make very good ones, but they're also very expensive. I think there's one set of lenses which you can buy for about 20,000 rupees, which is crazy, but they're very high quality engineered lenses.
Okay.
But the ones you get, for 2,000, they're not actually lenses, they're just plastic. They're not glass.
Okay.
So
it just adds an effect, like a filter or something.
I mean, so it does make it wide angle or telephoto, but optically you're going to lose a lot of quality.
Okay.
Because already it's a small sensor, small lens.
Yeah.
And you're adding at least 3-4 pieces of plastic in front of it.
Yeah.
You're losing a lot of optical quality.
Yeah.
And that doesn't matter if you're going to view it on a small screen, right? Because again, one of the things you're going to view, but when you have like wedding photos which are going to be printed, when you go beyond a certain size of print, and you start seeing the artifacts.
I remember the only thing I used to spend money was on mobile phones. Right. Like growing up, I'm sure you also had your like cycles of and at one time I remember like every phone that came out, one of the biggest selling points was it's like 8 megapixel, 9 megapixel, and then someone else was like 10 megapixel, and then everything stopped now at about 12 or something, and mega I don't know, there's something MMP or something as well.
Right.
So what's the deal? The competition is done now, or is that the maximum level of for like quality that you bring about in a mobile phone?
So I think basically megapixel essentially, if you think about it, is your size of your file size, right? So how many? So 3000 by 2000 pixels means 6 megapixels. That's basically what it is.
Okay.
So in terms of DSLRs, you have, I mean, mostly they've about topped off about 30 right now. You have some that are about 50, but 30 they've found to be a reasonable number where they can print enough large prints without having to worry about loss in detail. But the other part that you should remember is every time you increase the size of the megapixels, the size of each pixel becomes smaller. Yeah. Which is what, so in your phones, first of all, the size is, it's about this big sensor, which is tiny compared to a DSLR, which is about this big, right? So you're looking at a very small sensor, and when you try and push more and more pixels in it, you're going to lose more and more quality. So I think at this point they've come to a point saying that we're not going to lose more quality for megapixels.
Fine.
Because I think they've also realized that nobody prints cell phone photos. Very rarely you print cell phone photos. They end up on the cell phone itself. So why do you need
for like personal use mostly?
Why do you need a 30 megapixel image that's going to be seen on a 6-inch screen?
Yeah.
So I think that way they've kind of topped out now. So then they talk about the microns, which I was mentioning, is the size of the pixel.
Yeah.
So now they're saying we have larger pixel size, which means you can capture better low light photos, better details. So that's a new kind of thing. And then the aperture as well. The aperture is the size of the opening.
Okay.
So when you have a larger opening, you can capture more light. So better low light performance.
Okay.
So that's the
kind pixels of probably have larger apertures.
Larger pixels and larger apertures is kind of what they want to sell now.
I mean the mobile phone pixel, they keep stressing on the low light things.
Performance, maybe. Because that's obviously been a big thing always, right? I mean low light performance has been historically very bad on mobile phones. So they're trying to sell that.
We'll take a look at a couple of your pictures.
Yes,
I think it'll be interesting to put the picture quality and all that to context when we actually see.
So I think this photo is what I took last year. I always call it one of my best photos of the year.
Wow. Okay.
Primarily because I think from a photography perspective, this is extremely difficult to capture.
Okay.
On a technical level as well as on a emotional level. Okay. Because this happens for about maybe 2 seconds, even less than that. Because as you got married, so you know what happens, right? It's a very, very quick, you're pouring rice on each other.
And the chaos around
it. You.
Unfortunately, that's not captured in the picture. It's good though.
And then after that, at one point, the groom decides to lift that plate of rice and pour it on the bride's head. Yeah. And that's a split-second decision.
Okay.
And he does that and he puts it down. I mean, that's a second, maybe 1.5 seconds.
Yeah.
So in that time, to be in the right position, to get the lighting right and the focus right is super hard.
Okay.
And because it's a moment of action, it's not like they're sitting in a still position. There's a lot of movement.
Yeah.
So I think that way I'm very happy my camera was able to focus that quickly.
ISO settings and all that.
So yeah, and give me that bang on. And the other part I personally find I'm really lucky in this is that they covered, so I was sitting on the other side of the photographers.
Okay.
So all the photographers sitting on the other side, I sat on this side. So somehow she covered them. So otherwise you have a bunch of photos. You can see one kind of guy, but the rest of them have been kind of covered by their position.
Very nice.
And then obviously the color, the lighting, all kind of came
Yeah,
together.
it's so lively, right?
Yeah.
Like the wedding would have been.
Yeah, you kind of almost are transported there.
Yeah.
I think if you have a bit of audio, you'll feel that you're there.
Yeah.
Right? That's the.
I just want to quickly jump into something.
Sure.
There was a phase, I should say, where people would do those. I even forgot what they're called.
Mannequin challenge.
Mannequin challenge.
Yes,
Oh my god,
I
forgot about that. Yeah. But and I saw people do that in weddings and all. How do they do that? I mean, technically, what goes on there?
It was just simple. It's just a video of people standing still. That's it.
That's what they're doing at a wedding.
That's it. You just stand still.
It's very hard for me to believe that. Actually.
And then you just the camera moves around on a gimbal, so the camera movement is not there. So it moves around and it looks like nobody. It's all standstill, but.
There'll be one random guy moving who's
sometimes
doing
the
all
background,
the magic.
right? Yeah. Or like the flame, the fire will go like this.
Yeah. But that was pretty incredible. I thought
that's just an amount of coordination, right? I think you spend a lot of time with people and convince about 20 people to stand still for you. And if they're willing to do that, then you've got yourself a mannequin challenge. Yeah. Again, this is also a completely canned moment, and I'm very proud of this because this is one of those split-second moments.
Okay.
Which is the bride and groom fist bump, saying that we got married success. So it's a love marriage, right? And then they're like, they must have had their own trials and tribulations going through, and then that fist bump really completes their success. And that again happens for a split second. And if you're not ready, and if you're not composed and waiting for it, you're going to miss it. And I always think that's one of those things, those are memories that the couple will forget. Because they will not even remember they did it. But when they see the photo, they'll remember they did it.
It's like, oh yeah.
And that is priceless.
The recall.
Yeah, because it'll be like, suppose I give an album without that photograph with lots of other photographs, I think they'll still be very happy because they will not even remember that they missed that moment. Yeah. But when you give that extra element, that really takes it to the next notch.
It's like, oh my god, he caught it or something. Yeah,
because again, it's like, that's it. And you know, so.
What happens if you enact that?
I think that you'll have the same expressions.
It won't be as real as.
I mean, you see the joy in their face. It's so natural. Yeah. The way they are and the whole body language and
the colors that are coming out. I'm just amazed by the colors actually. So like, can you spot images where it's faked versus?
I think to a large extent you can. I think all of us can. Because I think I always say it's a very subconscious thing, right? We always know as human beings, we can see and judge someone's expression very easily. Okay. That's an inherent human
like
nature
he's faking it or she's faking it.
Yeah, more or less. I mean, especially in a situation of a wedding, you kind of know. I mean,
so you know many secrets who maybe only the bride and groom maybe know by looking at their expressions maybe.
Maybe.
So, and then you have some.
The other ones are couple shoots. Okay. So I think when I do couple shoots, one of the things that I really always am keen on is kind of having some element of storytelling in it. Okay. Rather than just do some nice photos in a nice field somewhere, I try and ask the couple what they think about, what are their preferences in life. Okay. And try and weave something that is going to be common for them. Okay. So that when they look at these photos, say 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the line, there's something in those images that is an element of personal.
That connect is there.
Yeah. Because as you know, as I said, today that image might look exciting on social media. Sure. But that's only a very short-term perspective. What's going to happen 5-10 years when there's no more Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is. When you're old and you just want to re-see old memories. And when you have that personal element of the location.
What connected us?
Yeah. So I mean, this couple was from Hyderabad and then they like tea and I thought they're very beautiful. We just stopped for chai and all cafe and then this is like it's a staged Candid moment kind of thing. So we wanted them to do that. But then they just carried on doing it and then we got this emotion which is
Irani chai feel.
Yeah. And and they will treasure this moment and the image because that's something they both love.
Yeah. What's the whole concept of couple shoot? I know we did one.
Got one as well. Yeah.
First of all, but like I mean, what's the whole
why
deal
do you do it?
Yeah.
So I think there's.
I didn't ask that question, okay? But yeah.
I won't tell Rashi, don't worry. But I think the main thing is that on a wedding day, especially typical Telugu wedding, you barely have time to portrait the couple together. Okay. Simply because of many restrictions. One being the couple are allowed to see each other technically before the ceremony. Yeah. Right. So until the ceremony, you're both in your separate rooms. You meet directly on the stage. Yeah. So you don't have any portraits of yourself on the wedding day with your wedding dress. And once your ceremony is over, now depending on how many guests you have, either you spend so much time meeting everyone you don't want to take any more photos, or you have a lot of stuff. You have your jalakara bellam, you're covered with this thing, your yellow haldi and the rice. And you look like a completely different person.
Like Chandramukhi maybe.
And I'm not sure if that's the image you want to treasure to be framed in the house on a big canvas.
I mean, it's too much going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think then your couple shoot, be it a pre or post wedding, that allows you to escape from that madness and just create some nice images of both of you with a nice attire and whatever it is, which you can frame and put up in your house and whatever it is. So I think.
So actually, thank you for that, for capturing those moments for
my pleasure.
For me and my wife. Actually, have it hung on my wall, and now it just all makes sense.
It makes sense why there, right? Yeah. Because
Just
I don't.
like
I'm sure you guys got portraits on your wedding. And There was a nice photo of you with the Arundhati and all that. But you know how you look in that photo, and you know that, and that's inevitable. I mean, that's just the way the wedding is.
Yeah.
So that's not in your control.
Very nice. And I know, you like heritage photos,
yes.
right? Like,
yeah.
And we went to Charminar as well, and I don't know why, but like I felt like, oh my God, you have to do one of those heritage photos. Like I like that whole theme of I don't know.
Like
olden age and all that.
Yeah.
So what inspires you, or why do you like the whole Charminar? I know you take a lot of pictures. And around Charminar. Like tell me about what your experience is.
So I think one of the things about Charminar is it's instantly recognizable as Hyderabad. So I think a lot of the couples who we meet, they all say the common factors we pose from Hyderabad, even though they may live abroad. They are kind of brought together by the fact that they are from Hyderabad. And visually, Charminar is the single most striking monument of the city, and that anyone from India will know this is Hyderabad. So I think that we use that for that reason, one. And also in terms of heritage, it's got a very kind of a lot of history to it as a monument. And it's nice to involve that in a couple's image. So I know that when they say from Hyderabad, they say we want something that's very Hyderabadi, they usually think of Charminar, chai, biryani. I mean, that's what we all think of. So having the opportunity to include that in the image is a very nice to sum up that couple's story and life. I think that is something that will always, so even though, say you move abroad, you go, again, this is what I'm saying, right? 10, 20 years later, you settle in America or Canada.
So your connect is there to Hyderabad.
And you always look back and, your kids will say, Dad, Mom, where do you get these photos? And like, this is Charminar, this is where we were born.
Oh, nice.
We'll take you there one day, whatever it is, so.
I think that's the whole basis or underlining factor of a photograph, right?
Yeah.
To recall memories, to recall a story.
Correct.
It's like a bullet point for a presentation.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say that, but So, and that's like the follow me to Charminar.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that just clicked very well that day. We had a lovely ring on the bride's hand, and then the whole thing. So.
And that off focus.
Out of focus. But I mean, out of focus, but yet enough to be recognized. That's the idea.
Is there a lot of editing and a lot of computer work that I don't know?
So I think
goes on.
Yeah, I mean it does, because we do a lot of color correction. Because the raw image that comes out from the camera is quite flat, and it is meant to be given a bit of color to it. So we shoot raw format, which is a very large size format. But we do that because we want to have the flexibility to change the mood of the photo later on, as opposed to shooting a JPEG photo, which is kind of all set and comes out ready packaged. So when we shoot raw, we're able to give that. But usually one of the things we always stick is, at least mostly try not to do, is to change the elements in the image. So it's not like we're going to shoot on a green screen and put like a Taj Mahal in the back, whatever. So we keep the elements of the image true to as they are. Most of the time, unless sometimes there's something very annoying where there's a tube light or light bulb, which but most of the time we're there. And we're just setting the color mood and the tone for the picture to give that emotional impact, which we want that image to have, essentially. I think
do you have like a take, like personally, do you have a take on like if an image is too edited or if it's like too raw? Like do you have a preference of, to say like, I think I like edited photos compared to I like raw photos.
Right.
Like, does it bring out raw emotion versus an edited version of an emotion? Like, do you have any?
So I think, any photograph, if it's really good, should look, the storytelling of the image is in the composition, the content, and the editing is the next step to bring it out to the next level. But so I would say a good image can be made really great with the right editing. But you can't really make an average image great with the right amount of editing, right? So you need stuff.
So a good mix of both, maybe. Bring out the emotion and to bring out like a memory callback. Maybe.
And even if a good image has average editing, also you'll still look good because the image itself stands on itself. But if a bad image and you have average editing, then it just goes down even more. So
tell me about this then. What is like?
So this image basically, if you can see, it says HFL over there, and it says 28 September 1908. HFL stands for high flood level. So that is the floods of Hyderabad, which happened 110 years ago. and
Wow.
that marks where the water level went up to. And if you see that,
That's pretty
that's
high,
really,
right?
really
Like
high.
what height was that at?
That's probably at least 10-12 feet in the air. So we made a series of, I covered about 10 HFL stones which are all around the place. Some are actually quite low. There's one which is only about like this level.
Okay.
Some are quite high in the air, depending on how the landscape is over there, right? So I think those markers serve as a memory for people, and I think it's important that even today we realize that's the power of Mother Nature. That regardless of how well established your physical structure or life is, one flood, which is going to come 12 feet today in the air, it's going to really throw the entire
like
nation
Chennai and Kerala, unfortunately.
Yeah. So I think we sometimes take that for granted, not realizing that how much we are at the mercy of Mother Nature.
I don't know if people are alive to recall that, but like for us to see the history like that is.
So I think it's a part of the way our city has been shaped, and we need to be aware of our history, right? So I think so we did that documentation, and that's not in the exhibition today, but that has gone into the archives for some other exhibition at some point.
Okay. So you did documentaries as well, right?
Correct.
Like, so you covered people. Like what? Tell me about your documentaries actually.
So documentary photography usually again it's heavily revolves on a subject is what is important. So I think finding the right subject and getting access to them is usually the most difficult part.
Okay.
So for example, on the first documentary series I made was about how they make biryani in Hyderabad in the traditional way.
Okay.
So that involved me spending a lot of time in a traditional Hyderabadi restaurant's kitchen and photographing the process right from the procurement of the meat till the final plate is served to the customer.
Oh, wow.
But getting the level of access was not easy because people be like, no, why do you want to come and photograph this? This is a personal history or a tradition or a secret. So I had to find someone and get access. Eventually I managed that. And once we got the access, it was just a matter of, then the other part is also a matter of spending enough time for them to forget you.
Okay. What do you mean forget you?
So I think when you're in a situation, for example, if I say I'm going to document your life and I'm in your office every day, you will be like, okay, Kishor is here, so I must write neatly or I must do so. People tend to put on a facade for the camera.
Sure.
And
you can catch that.
And then I don't want that. I don't want the facade.
Yeah.
So, but after 2 days, you'll be like, this idiot's going to be here anyway. Let me just do my job. And eventually you have to become a fly on the wall. Yeah. And becoming a fly on the wall is not easy. And you have to be in that comfort zone of that person as well. So it's not just about photography, it's also about people skills. It's about getting to know that person you're photographing and becoming a friend to them. So they don't have to feel like they need to present a different version of themselves to you.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of time, and sometimes it's a lot of time spent without the camera.
So I'm trying to recreate that actually, that exact same thought, what you just said.
Yeah.
With the whole show, what I'm trying to do with Vamcast as well.
Right.
Is just to try to talk to people.
Yes.
And I don't have a format necessarily. I don't have a time limit in terms of saying this. It's like trying to make it like a podcast where how best can I interact with another individual who's trying to make a change of some sort in his profession, his life.
Yeah.
And if people watching can get inspired or moved by it, even if one person does, it's more than enough. So
that's a great idea. Yeah, that's
a great connect up to what.
I think that's the easiest way when you have that honest interaction.
Yeah.
That's what gets the most knowledge out.
Yeah.
When you have a very preconceived interviews which you see on TV, right?
Yeah. A very controlled environment.
Yeah.
By the clock.
Yeah.
And I have written down 10 questions.
Yeah. I take out a piece of paper and I start reading from that, and then you know that it's just going to be like a PR release, right?
I mean, not to criticize that. I mean, different people have different motives and different callings, but I think this is more raw and original.
And a genuine sharing of knowledge happens.
So, other documentaries that you've shot
So that was the first one I started off with.
Yeah.
I think one of the more monumental one was when I documented this politician's life during the elections.
Okay.
So my idea was to spend a lot of time with one candidate during the elections in 2014.
Okay.
Just 5 years ago now.
Wow.
Right. So then I was always tired of seeing the public facade of politicians.
Okay.
Which is what you see of everyone. I mean, if you actually remove party affiliations from a politician, they all do the same thing virtually, more or less.
Yeah.
The way the public perceives them, they have a certain image, a persona, a certain way they want to be seen and accepted by the public. But to get under that skin and to see who they are as a human being, to see their emotions, their personal side, is what I was interested in.
Okay.
And that was not easy because a lot of people were saying, no, I don't want you to shoot that because this is what I've built up as image, this is what I wanted people to understand. I'm not going to let you shoot anything else.
Yeah.
So again, this is where I spent a lot of time trying to get access. getting access was
that
hard.
comfort and that.
Not in just getting the initial access, come and photograph me.
Okay.
So then I met Jaydev Galla, who was the candidate for MP in Guntur, through a friend, and then I emailed him, and then he's one of those American educated guys who responds to emails. And then he was like, then I met him once, he said, sure, it sounds like a good idea.
Just randomly emailed?
No, with a contact.
With a contact,
Yeah. So I emailed him a proposal of what I want to do, send him some reference images.
Okay.
And then he asked me to come to his office in Guntur, and I went there. And then he met me for about 30 seconds, and I explained to him, and I showed him on my little tab.
30 seconds pitch.
And then he was like, yeah, sounds good. Let me know when you want to start. And that was it. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we got in.
Okay.
And then that was about a couple of months before the elections, I would say. So peak heat of Andhra, but yeah.
Very interesting that he gave you time during that.
Correct. Yeah. So I was just waiting list of, there's like a long list of people sitting outside politician's office. I was just one of those guys in that line waiting when Sir will come and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it worked out that way. Then after that, I stayed with the rest of his volunteers in a guest house, very close to where he was staying as well. So I was able to come to his house first thing in the morning, and so I was always there before he was there, and I was leaving after he left. So to make sure I covered everything.
Yeah.
The first 2 weeks of covering was there was some distance, both on a physical sense, in terms of I was not getting very close to him, and also in terms of an emotional sense, when he was still a little bit dubious of who I was and all that stuff, and then a little bit of kind of thing. I think after a while, once he got used to me, and then we used to go in the same car and spend time together. He kind of understood that I'm there just for a genuine curiosity and interest.
Okay.
And then the connect became closer, wherein I was allowed access to more intimate situations. Okay. Again, on a physical level and both on an emotional level, with the trust, I think, developed. I think that's the key part here.
How long was this duration?
The entire series or just the...
Yeah, the entire series.
The entire series about a couple of months.
Couple of months.
A bit of going on and off. I mean, coming out of Hyderabad, but mostly I was in Guntur for most of the time.
So you spent considerably good time.
Good time to and then I needed to spend that time to get those moments and situations, and as I said, to get that level of
comfort,
trust and comfort. Yeah. So it kind of leads us to images like this.
Yeah.
Wherein he's obviously sitting in a private meeting with a bunch of volunteers or Karyakartas, and he's just like looking outside in a very chilled out, zoned out world, and then you have these guys waiting to meet him. But getting access to something like this is difficult.
Yeah.
And once you get access, to be a fly on the wall is the second part. I can't be noisy. Yeah. So I have a silent mode on my camera, which makes the camera quieter.
No kitching sound.
It comes very subdued. It's so subdued that if you're talking, you won't be able to hear it.
Okay.
And then I'm also not moving. I'm just in one position waiting. So I really like this technique where I call it compose and wait. Which I've learned it from some other NGC photographers watching their videos. Okay. But they always say it's about you compose, then you wait for the moment. So I usually compose, and I've taken many photographs, of which one falls into place. So you compose and you wait, and it falls. A lot of times I compose and wait and I don't get anything. Okay. But sometimes I get something. So I think you're seeing 12 images. 12 is my final series. Yeah. It's 5 over here. But there's so many rejects that
is there a reason you have 12 as a final series? Even
so 10 to 12 is usually a good number for a series of images generally. Internationally for festivals, be it for an exhibition. Okay. We usually look about 10 to 12 images for a normal series. Of course, you do more. Suppose you're making a book, you make more. Suppose you have a larger exhibition, you make more. But at the beginning, you make about...
Is there like any other reason to select 12, or is it like a general photographer's standard?
That's about it. I think it's also when you go a little beyond that, it starts to get a little monotonous. And then you lose the attention of the viewer. So with 12, it's about...
So it's like a good average of what you want to capture.
So you have to obviously put a story, right? So you have an opening and a high point, a low point, and you end off. So it's like almost like a movie.
Yeah. And I was actually going to tell you, it's like these shots actually look like a old... like a black and white movie, right? Like and especially now that I know it's of a politician. I feel like it's like a political
like a documentary,
like a documentary movie. Tell me about this picture. It looks like it's a very candid picture.
So I think this was probably this is the results day probably. I think after the elections. So I think we were there on results day as well.
Oh wow. So okay, now it makes sense. The whole series of
from the start to the struggle, and then the headache, and then coming. So this is, I think, probably the relaxing in the final day.
So I'm glad he won. So you got.
I got that. Yeah, I think if he didn't win, my series would have never been as good as it. So,
no, it's good. Yeah.
So I think that way, you see that complete candid nature of him.
Relief.
Which is what anyone would do. I mean, I think you see the body language. Yeah. I'm sure if either of us were after a hard 2 months of work or 4 months of work, we'd be chilling with that. And I think that's what is nice, that he is not different. He's still us, right? He's still a human being, and he still has the same emotions, the same way of dealing with life.
Yeah. So let's get to the entrepreneur part of your life,
Sure.
right?
Yes,
So tell me about that.
So I think first of all, I think the other thing, being a self-employed photographer itself is being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's true.
I tell a lot of people that
That's
because a lot of people realize that photography is taking photos.
Yeah.
And I take photos for a very small amount of time.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of time in
running the team
running a team, business development, client development, editing.
Yeah.
And all this work is what actually is the crux of our job.
Yeah.
And there's a tiny part called photography.
Yeah.
But we're labeled photographers, at least to the wider world.
Yeah.
And I think, we are photographers, but we also, as you said...
Maybe you should coin a new word. Like photo entrepreneur or something like that. Like, you know, like how chefs who have become entrepreneurs.
Right.
They have a food entrepreneur or something. They have another term, right?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
I just went blank today. I don't know. I'm not able to recall anything.
Yeah.
And maybe I do because I don't have a photograph. But so tell me about the whole journey of...
So I think that the journey of becoming an entrepreneur through photography, I think that's where perhaps my skills and my learning in economics and kind of really helped me a lot.
Okay.
To bring a good sense of professionalism
Okay.
To the table. When it was sometime, before it was very kind of unorganized perhaps in some ways. Of course, there were a few organized guys, but a lot of guys, it was just like very casual. You just turn up for a shoot and you get paid, and then there's no a system of doing things which is foolproof. So I think I was able to bring that at least to my team.
Very nice.
Bring a more professional approach, be it to the client, be it internally within the team as well.
Okay.
Because that helps everyone.
Sure.
And having that was helpful. But apart from, I think the entrepreneurial part that you want to talk about is to do with the other parts of it, which is the zine which I run, Concorde Zine.
So what is it? I mean, let's start afresh. I mean, though I have a faint idea of what it is.
Yes.
What is Concorde? And
so I've got copies of Concorde, which I'm going to give it to you first. Yeah. This is our latest issue, which is what I have. Some old issues as well.
Okay.
So I think Concorde, as you can see, it's a printed magazine.
Okay.
And our ethos was to print photo stories. It's as simple as that. It's saying that photography is a medium that is best enjoyed in a print format, because in a digital format, you're just going to go swipe or scroll.
Sure.
But when you hold it in your hand in a high quality printed format, you really get to flip to the book and spend some time with the images and interact with it and hold it, which is something that you can't really put a price to that, right? It's a very personal feeling. So that's how we
how did you come up with this idea? Like, I'm very curious to know, like...
So, I mean, again, this is a format that is something known, again, internationally as a zine. It's a half a magazine. So, a magazine becomes a zine, right? So it's A5. It's smaller than an A4 kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, it's an A5 size. It's more compact. It's more handy in terms of keeping it on the table. And also, it's easy reading in some... It's obviously not reading because only images, but easy to absorb.
This is great, actually.
So, then, I think once we had the format, it was just about figuring out the content to put inside. Okay. I think the content we wanted to put inside was something that's very local. It's all Hyderabad, mostly Hyderabad. All our issues are pretty much Hyderabad.
I know, like last time you were telling me, it's about themes that you are connected with, right?
Correct.
Right. Like,
it's very bad, but I say that it's also very mundane topics we pick.
Okay.
I pick mundane topics because I think that is what is forgotten.
I like this a lot.
Because that's something that's going to be forgotten, right? That's a guy where a guy drinks and people will forget that. So I think...
I'm sure he'll forget.
He'll definitely forget that. But I'm saying that in life, the way we live, we remember the high points.
Sure.
You always remember the day you had your first child, you remember the day you got married, and you remember all these landmarks.
Yeah.
But you don't remember the daily life. But daily life is what makes a difference, right? The way you go to eat, where you go to drink, and what you see around you, where you get your haircut. All of these contribute to a very distinct part of life, but we don't document it. So, which is why we decided to document the mundane stuff in life, and all the issues we see are something that is everywhere.
It's like everyday things.
Yeah. So, for the bicycle issue, which you're seeing right now, that issue we made for it to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the invention of the bicycle.
Okay.
And we covered professions of people who depend solely on the bicycle for their livelihood.
Okay.
That was the idea. And these are professions that probably will not exist in 5-10 years, where they might be replaced by motorbikes.
Like
or something else.
Cartwheels have been replaced by cars now. I hope bicycles don't get replaced.
I think there's a huge surge of bicycle these days in terms of more of enthusiasm.
Electric bikes.
But generally in terms of, bicycle is it keeps you fit and blah blah.
Yeah.
But I think it's not the bicycles, it's the professions that might get replaced.
Where do you get these and what do you do with these?
So
where do you push it?
We have them on our website and we ship it all over the world. ConcordeZine.com. You can go and buy it. We ship it all over the world, and then you can buy it, and that's one part of our sales.
Okay.
We have a launch event for every issue, small launch event with a few kind of hardcore fans come through and we push copies out there.
So you just give a small keynote kind of a thing.
We speak about the issue. We have some samosas and chai, which will then we talk about, and then we kind
typical Hyderabad style.
Correct. Yeah. So I think that's a nice thing we do every few months whenever we launch the issue. Apart from that, I think now we're trying to see where we do have some offline avenues of distribution.
Okay.
We are trying to figure out to speaking to some stores and seeing where we can, because something I realize that everyone who sees it loves it.
Yeah.
But people haven't seen it yet, and that's the biggest problem. We don't have that marketing.
You have me right here.
So,
we talked about this before, where I never sat
and actually,
So sorry, that's why I had to I was hooked on to that without.
But you understand that, so I think that kind of marketing, that's something I'm not so good at. I'm not really good at pushing. I'm really good at creating stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not so good at pushing it out there yet.
Yeah. Is it on Amazon and Flipkart?
No, I mean those are two complex. See, they want a very large margin. On Amazon, Flipkart, they want we sell for a very, very, very small margin. We have virtually no margin.
Okay.
I'm pretty much selling on cost because for me it's more important for it to get out there.
To get the message out.
I'm not worried about making money.
How nice.
But when you go on Amazon or Flipkart, they have their fees and their GST and blah blah blah.
So I have this thought that's it's been not thought, it's I have this feeling about the creative industry in India. I feel it's undervalued. People don't care much. That's what I think. What is your experience?
I think it's better now. I think it's much better today than it was a long time ago. I think generally there's more appreciation and value that's come together today.
Okay.
There's still a very, very long way to go.
Okay.
But I think we're glad at least we're here today. I think there's more, at least the younger generation value it more. Especially, sometimes I think the best example I have is when we go to meet clients for wedding photography.
Okay.
The couple who are getting married are very excited about our work. They're really excited about capturing these memories and these priceless moments of their life, which happen only once.
Yeah.
But sometimes the parents of an older generation, if they're not more up to date with the current trend, they're like, when I got married, I got wedding for 10K, 20K. Why do you want all this? Who's really going to care about it, right? And then that is a distinct differentiation between their set of values and the younger generation set of values.
Yeah.
And then, but usually what I find is when they see the photos, it all changes.
Yeah.
Once they see the images, then they realize the value for it.
They wish they had got
perhaps maybe
one done with Kishor Krishnamurti.
But
then,
until then, there's no way of showing them this is what we're giving to you. I can only tell that uncle, this is really good, go for it.
Yeah.
Some are convinced, some aren't convinced, of course.
Yeah.
But the ones who are convinced are really glad they did it because they know that it's nowhere even remotely comparable to what they had got perhaps for their. It's a different world of work, and then they're super glad they did that.
But no, I can't wait to see more of this in places more accessible.
I think that's
we definitely need to figure out how to get this out and be in more creatively aware places maybe to start with, and if we can get a copy of this there, I'm sure people will
enjoy it.
Absolutely. And tell me about Kiki straps. What is that all about?
Right, so that's the other thing I started off.
Kiki is Kishor Krishnamurti.
Roughly, yes.
K-I-K-I.
It used to be a nickname for me when I was living in England and people couldn't kind of say
Kishor
Krishnamoorthi.
Yeah.
So they were like, okay, this is Kiki. And then that was kind of a lot of people used to call me that.
Okay.
So we named it that way because we also thought it's quite a catchy and cool name.
Okay.
But the product itself is something that's quite revolutionary is what we say, because it's to replace your camera straps, not have the ones that have the normal one which you get with the camera comes with the Rexine and it's very harsh on the skin.
Correct.
And it's very unsuitable for Indian weather.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
It's sweaty and uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. So we thought we'll replace that. We found the materials are hand woven ikat from Pochampalli.
Okay.
So we use that material.
It's
soft, very comfortable, and it's sweat absorbent, and even so it keeps you warm on a cold day. You just wrap it around your neck, and on a sunny day also it's not irritating on the skin.
It's kind
of multi weather usage. Yeah.
Okay.
So we got that and we make that into straps. That's essentially the crux of what it is.
Okay.
It also looks. I mean, the other part is it's a fashion element as well, right? So as a photographer, you don't really have any way of customizing your look.
Yeah.
Apart from the strap. Right, the camera is, you can't really change it.
Yeah.
It's as it is.
Yeah.
This is the only attachment.
Maybe you can start Kiki camps.
But this is the only part of that you can actually truly change.
Yeah.
And so we have multiple designs, and I've seen people who start kind of matching it with their wardrobe.
Okay.
And they own 2-3 different straps, and depending on what they're wearing, they change it and stuff like that. So that's the other part of it. So it's both fashion and function, and using locally made hand woven fabric. So it's not a very commercial entity in that way. We're trying to keep it very good and so that we start that. Again, we still have the same issues with this where we have to have more avenues of offline distribution.
Okay.
We still sell through our website only right now.
Okay.
Offline distribution is a big thing. I mean, it's a lot of work, and That's why I realized
Yeah,
that
it's like
Amazon is
whole
so
new-
easy that way. Yeah.
Whole new
So
business actually.
it is. So
yeah.
we haven't got there yet, but we're working on it. I think
I'm
we'll
sure.
get
I'm
there
sure.
eventually.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because the products are good. I've seen. I mean, I just saw one, and it's,
Yeah.
I'm really like thinking now, what can we do
More.
more, and I'm sure Kiki is straps also
Yeah.
in the same boat.
Yeah.
What's your final goal? Where are you heading, Kishor, with all this?
Oh, I think that's a very magnanimous question. Actually,
It is.
To be honest.
It is. I know. It's like I always think twice before asking like anyone this, because it's not just like a random question and answer. I know it has a heavy meaning to it.
Correct.
But as like
Yeah, I mean, I think also see the world is also changing quite fast. It's hard to plan in advance these days, right? I mean, you think something's going to happen in 2-3 years, but something totally takes you on a curveball.
Yeah.
And you don't know. So I think we always have, I mean, I said my philosophy of photography is the same as it was the day I still picked up the camera, when we are blessed to have this advantage of capturing moments in time forever.
Yeah.
And be it a wedding, be it heritage, be it travel, be it documentary, but the philosophy is the same. I think I just want to take that to more places and more things. And I think for me, awareness is very important. I have this pet peeve about the internet and being flooded with so many bad images.
Yeah.
So much bad content.
That's true.
Which are just have a better sense of marketing perhaps, and that's why they're popular. I think the real essence of a city, or like Hyderabad, like today we spoke about Diwan Devdi.
Yeah. So
I think it's very important for people to see those images. I think that's, and you can do with some less images of Paradise Biryani and less images of the obvious.
Of the nalas.
And you can see more images of what is actually happening in your city, and I think that makes us all more culturally aware, and also makes all citizens a bit of mini activists, in some way. And I think that is what the power of imagery is. And if you don't use that, then it's like if I'm just going to go and say I'm just going to shoot like random stuff. What am I actually a photographer? Or am I just an enthusiast with the camera? So that is the way the photographer. The word is actually much more than just having a camera. It's about who you are as well. This is why the whole NGC part I was talking to you, right? So where is your interest, and how do you combine that with your photography passion?
Very nice, Kishor. Thank you so much for coming down today. I think I'm just blown. I was like too much for me to absorb in terms of what all you're doing and the impact that you're trying to create on the buses. Hope that Concord and Kiki straps really spread down to as many people as possible.
Thank you. Yes.
Like your photographs have already. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for your time.
Take care.
Pleasure.
Take care.
All right.